How do you feel about celebrities in the modern era?
I think it's more good news that they're ending. The problem with celebrities, well, they have lots of problems with them. They're degenerate kiddie fiddlers, allegedly, in Minecraft. But apart from anything else, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
Like with anything, the more of something there is, the less valuable it is. And there's thousands of them now, thanks to the TV. Well, there's millions thanks to the internet, depending on what counts as a celebrity. You and I, arguably, are celebrities, although I certainly don't feel like one.
I think
It feels weird to say it, doesn't it? It feels like a smeggy thing to say. I retract that statement. We're not celebrities.
There's something about the sort of self-selective nature of the internet that I think prohibits celebrity as we previously understood it. Because everyone knew who like Brad Pitt was or Angelina Jolie, because whether you were a fan of them or not, you saw the movie posters everywhere. You probably watched some of the movies they were in, and so even if you didn't like them, you still knew who they were, right? Whereas the sort of self-selecting nature of the internet means that generally, if you're not choosing to look at something, you don't know who that is. Like I always hear about this, like, oh, celebrity influencer so and so has, is in a scandal, and it's some 19-year-old who's got like 50 million followers. I'm like, never heard of him. Oh, who the hell is that? So to me, that's not a celebrity. That's an internet personality. Anyway, yes. Before we go on, I had a discussion about conservatism with Andrew Clavin, and this is much more interesting than talking about the death of celebrities, actually. And this is a free interview as well on lotus.com. So a link will be in the description. Go and watch it. It's really good. Andrew Clavin and Michael Knowles are my favourite Daily Wire personalities. Michael Knowles, generally for his enjoyment of the discussion with leftists, but Andrew Clavin because he's actually a deep thinker on these issues, and he approaches these things from a perspective of aesthetics. So he's concerned about beauty and feeling, and how the conservatives are kind of losing the culture war by failing to properly articulate their view of what a beautiful life could look like, which of course, if you look at the previous segment, we've got the left's view of what a beautiful life looks like, and it's Brian winning the Miss USA pageant or whatever it is. And the Conservatives could have a better one that might be more appealing. So anyway, great interview with Andrew Clavin. Go check that out. So let's move on to Jennifer Aniston, who I think has actually made some really good points about the fact that there are no more movie stars. And social media is cancer, and it's killed them. She was lamenting on Hollywood's fading glamour during a recent Allure magazine cover story. Now, isn't that interesting? Because the whole point of the glamour is that it's kind of an illusion, right? So the reason that celebrities, when we were young, were people of import is actually because you didn't know much about them, really. You saw them in the films, but they were pretending to be someone else. And they'd look stunning, obviously. They'd have very short, sort of curated interviews, with whoever, in which they would be, like, kind of objects of fascination, but also detached idols. As you didn't really get to see the grimy bits of them, right? You didn't get to see the rough around the edges parts. You didn't get to hear their opinions. And my God, wasn't the world a better place when you didn't get to hear celebrity opinions?
Yeah, in the rare event that they even had one, that wasn't what we now call woke.
Yes. She says no one's ever going to be famous in the way that she is, and she's probably right. That kind of mass fame phenomenon burning so bright for so long is just not achievable today. She's like a silent film star among a generation of TikTok idiots. She says, I feel like it's dying. There are no more movie stars, no more glamour. Even the Oscar parties used to be so fun, and of course they're not now. She says she flat out hates social media. She stays off it. She only opened an Instagram because of modeling, the makeup contract she had to promote that. She says, it's torture for me. The reason I went on Instagram was to launch this line. The pandemic hit, blah, blah, blah. There are people who say that watching Friends has saved them during cancer diagnosis, or that so many people have such gratitude for this little show. She says, I don't know why it resonates. There are no iPhones. It's just people talking to each other. And nobody talks to each other anymore. And that's what makes Friends and the 90s generally so very different. It's like the modern era, just minus the mobile phone.
It's difficult to make realistic sitcoms or realistic movies because people really don't talk to each other as much.
Just on their phones.
There was a couple of horror movies about some killer who was online or something, but it doesn't work in the context of a movie because it's a screen within a screen. You can't make that scary or intriguing.
Yeah, I mean just close your eyes, walk away. How's cyberbullying even real? Anyway, the problem though is we get to hear too much about celebrities. That's the thing. Like we get to hear about Jennifer Aniston's eggs, which is like, So she'd been going through IVF and things like that, and she's just like, well, that ship sailed, which is fine. But that's the sort of story you might have heard about a movie star 15, 20 years ago, right? It's like they've been trying to conceive, they can't conceive, they're too old now. Okay, fair enough, that's terrible. And women reading that be like, oh my goodness, fine. But unfortunately, the problem that we have now is actually not like these sort of curated interviews. The problem we have now is social media. And it's just non-stop social media drivel from people you used to respect because you liked their films or you liked their basketball performances or whatever, such as in the case of LeBron James. Like, you can see the celebrities being radicalized by social media in real time, and it's just embarrassing. So you may remember the shooting of Micaiah Bryant. Do you remember what happened in that?
Yeah, a black girl was about to kill another black girl, and the police officer saved one life by ending the other.
Literally in the middle of the swing.
Yeah.
Yes, it was awful.
Why didn't he just shoot the knife out of her hand?
Great question, LeBron. But he tweeted, "You're next, #accountability," implying that the police officer who heroically saved a young woman's life needs to be shot. Okay, good take, LeBron. Definitely not the product of a social media echo chamber that's currently radicalizing you to threaten the police, you lunatic, in defense of an attempted murderer. Did you ever like Star Wars?
Oh yeah, the first few.
Yeah?
Who doesn't like the first few?
Well, I was never a huge fan, actually. But, no, you just...
I wasn't a huge fan, but it's
Yeah.
good. It's good little...
Yeah,
little
you like
hot
Luke
conflict.
Skywalker?
Oh, we're talking about Mark Hamill now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are talking about Mark Hamill.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Again, this is the sort of scandal you'd used to get, but and then fine, Mark Hamill pressuring her son's ex to get an abortion. Mark Hamill told me that I shouldn't bring a child into the world that nobody wants. He texted her, "If you keep it, we won't hang out anymore. You'll get no money from the trust fund and no money from my parents." Oh, that's awful, Mark. But again, this is sort of old school, old world celebrity drama story that you'd get previously. Now we get Mark Hamill constantly tweeting Democrat propaganda. Just about how, MAGA is going to use the power they get in 2022 to steal the 2024 election. Mark Hamill being like, voting is how we save our country. Thanks for radicalizing people online, Mark.
Use the forceps, Luke.
Yep.
That was Josh's joke, but it's too good not to steal.
Ron Perlman?
Oh, yes.
Big fan of Ron
Face
Perlman,
only
are
a-
you?
face
I enjoyed
only a mother could
Hellboy.
love.
Yeah, I enjoyed Hellboy, though. But love this. I'm quitting Twitter. Well, actually, I just popped back on because I couldn't let this one slide. No, Elon. It is you that has been manipulating free speech. Because as the quintessential narcissist you fetishize, the entire universe must think your way. I'll be back soon because your 5 minutes are ticking away. Ron, buddy, you actually do need to get off of Twitter. Right? Because do you remember what he did to Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, I got all sorts of unwelcome images in my head now.
Oh, it's worse
Do
than
you
you think.
clear it up
probably.
for me?
Well, apparently he once peed on his own hand before a handshake with Harvey Weinstein, he claimed in 2018. That's right, Ron Perlman. I'm pissing on myself to own Harvey Weinstein.
Cover yourself in ass to own that takes me back too.
Just, like, Jennifer Aniston's right. The age of celebrity is just over. Because these celebrities are just... We get to hear from them and see them constantly, and they're just useless and disgusting. And of course, why would you tweet this out? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Stephen King. Man, I was a huge fan of Stephen King's books. The Dark Tower is still easily one of the best 7 books you can ever read. It's massive. It's engaging. It's deep. It's provoking. It's thoughtful. And then you go to Stephen King's Twitter timeline, and it's just crap. All this Republican talk about stolen elections grew from one man baby who is psychologically incapable of admitting he lost a contest. Stephen, you are considered to be one of the greatest authors in the world. Could you write something that doesn't involve the words man baby?
That'll be $8 as well. He's another one of those
It's not $20, is it, Stephen?
millionaires who couldn't handle $8.
Yeah, Stephen King's worth like $500 million.
Something like that.
He doesn't think he needs to pay. He doesn't deserve it. Anyway, moving on. How about George Takei? God, he's embarrassing.
Oh my.
Just, again, it's just non-stop, relentless left-wing propaganda. Hey, GOP, attacks on trans kids, on teaching about racism in schools, on reproductive rights, on democratic freedom, the rule of law, very unpopular. Enough grievance. Time to just get back to ideas on moving America forward. It's like, really? We really need Sulu's ideas on moving America forward, do we? Can we have Captain Kirk's ideas? Because Kirk's a lot more based.
Yeah, Shatner's... What's happened to Shatner?
Don't know. He's didn't he go into space?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Maybe that messed with his mind a bit.
Probably bad phone
I haven't
reception.
seen any of his Twitter takes for a while.
No. Anyway, so the problem, of course, is that we just know too much about the celebrities. Like Seth Rogen interrogating everyone if they're Jewish.
Yeah, you need to write "I am Jewish" in lamb's blood over your door.
I guess so, for Seth
comes to
Rogen.
town.
He did this to Count Dankula as well.
Yeah, he did it
Yeah.
to everyone.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like tweeting, like DMing Dankula, are you Jewish? What? Oh, we had a Twitter beef, and now you need to know if I'm Jewish? That's weird, Seth. Anyway, speaking of Jewish people, Seth Rogen was recently educated on Israel.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Disavow whatever this is about. Whatever side this is on. Disavow.
Well, you're going to be surprised to hear that he's not a fan of Israel, no, like every left-wing progressive Jewish person, because, of course, colonialist settler state. And, of course, he got radicalized by Twitter. And then the final thing is those celebrities who just incomprehensible gobbledygook. Like, again, I didn't think ill of Cher, but if you can scroll up on this, we actually don't have the shares. There we go. What is this? Where the F is Brittany Griner, and what's America doing to free her? She's sent to Russian penal colony. It's hard labor, no meds, and people die. Has no idea where she is. What bleeds leads in America. We will let her die because she is no longer front page news. America has the attention span of a fruit.
And this is in all caps for those people.
In all caps.
That always comes across as hinged.
With lots of emojis. I mean, Brittany Griner took drugs to Russia and has been punished.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking. In other countries, Cher, they have laws and they make people follow them. Honestly, she's lucky she didn't go to like Indonesia or something, where it's the death penalty for bringing drugs into the country. So, hard labour in a Russian penal colony could be worse. But this is, as I said, the problem with Twitter, the problem with bloody easy access to those people who are kind of icons and legends, is they didn't realise that the separation, the distance between you and your daily life and then engaging with content from a celebrity and the constant, like, spewing feed of nonsense totally normalizes and reduces and dispels the glamour of being a celebrity. And it turns out that celebrities are idiots. They're vapid idiots who are just as capable to internet radicalization as the next person. They're just as capable of being completely wrong on every subject. Any thoughts about celebrities before we move on?
Yeah, once again, too many of them. So once upon a time, the only celebrities were kings and Jesus, basically.
Yes.
And so people didn't even know who the king was from year to year. So it was all about Jesus, and people actually gave a damn about him. People would love to hear about Jesus' eggs. It's spicy take on Orange Man and whatnot.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you think of, like, Wellington and, like, Napoleon and stuff like that. Why am I unable to... Nelson. I keep thinking Napoleon, Battle of Trafalgar. No, it's Nelson, of course, the Battle of Trafalgar. Like, great war heroes. These were the famous men who accomplished something. Now it's people who are in movies, and it's like, okay, fair enough. As long as you keep your mouth shut and don't basically publicly disgrace yourselves by tweeting like Cher or covering yourself in piss before shaking Harvey Weinstein's hands, there was something more respectable about it. There's something reserved. We are people who are in a different world to you.
Yeah, and now there's millions of them, and they're 10 a penny, and it's increasingly impossible to give a damn about their personal lives, let alone their worthless political caterwaulings. And I would know, because no one listens to me either. I mean, why would you? I'm not even a celebrity.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Epoch series, this one on the armistice of the First World War. If you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.